Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to today's show. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, we got a lot of stuff to get to here. As always, really appreciate you staying with us today. We got a lot of stuff again to get to. And as the winds come down, towns in Hurricane Florence's path are fearing the floods. It's hitting, and it's hitting hard. Trump is denying nearly 3,000 died in Puerto Rico in an unhinged pre-Florence tweet storm. Take a look at that. Cynthia Nixon is defeated by Andrew Cuomo in a wide margin. Julia Salazar, however, won the most watched state legislative primary in the history of the universe. Wow. Yeah, it was a very big one. The math of Jeff Bezos' astounding greed, and we'll give you some stats on that. FEMA Chief Brock Long is under investigation, but he's going to be in charge of this Florence hurricane response, because why not? And finally, we will look at what's become of Rand Paul. The chances we're going to do all the stories is about like 50-50, to be honest, so just be ready. I don't know which one of those stories is going to be cut, but it's going to be one of them probably near the end there. So just giving you a heads up there, because we do a live show, and I don't know, like it's not the best part of it. It's not really planned, because if I want to say something, if I want to add one more last word, I can fit in, create the show however I want to create the show as I create the show. So it's pretty cool stuff. All right. Yeah, really an incredible situation here going on right now in Florence, in North Carolina, as Florence bears down here. And, it began really its brutish slow-motion collision with the Carolina coast Thursday, with beach towns cowering under the first bands of lashing rain and storm surge. Onshore wind gusts reached 100 miles per hour. At the same time, residents and emergency personnel throughout the inland North and South Carolina were working under the grim assumption that the Category 1 storms pounding off the coastline would be only the first powerful punch in a fight that could go many rounds and last for many days. It will play out not only among the stilted beach cottages and seaside resorts, but also in the workday towns and cities much further west, so much further inland. This may be the first time we've experienced such a two-punch from these conditions. South Carolina's Governor Henry McMaster Henry McMaster at a news conference on Thursday, speaking about evacuations along the coast, as well as the possibility of rain-triggered landslides in the mountains, which could be a very big deal. Florence is proving to be a lumbering giant, with the cloud cover as large as the Carolinas themselves. So pretty much the entire Carolinas is in one big cloud right now. Let's take a look at the what I wanted to do is just, let's see, dark sky, yeah, this is a map there. Let's do precipitation radar. Yeah, right now, because I just wanted to get up a radar of what's going on right now, and pretty much like all of America has like no precipitation whatsoever, except for that one spot where the hurricane is, and it's right now half in Carolinas and half out. It's stretching up in some places as far as Raleigh at the moment, so it's very much kind of an all-encompassing type of thing. So so we are going to look into that very much, and of course we have all the people, all the anchors who are getting their blowing away down there in Carolina as things continue to just seemingly get worse and worse down there. We are going to so let's see what's going on. So pretty much that's how it's working. So pretty much the eye is right over Wilmington at the moment. As it's supposed to be going all the way up, turning up into Virginia as pretty much a Category 1, then I think it's going to turn into a tropical storm, then it's going to weaken. It's going to kind of make a U-turn kind of bend up through Wilmington and then up north. So there could be a little bit of some fragments of the storm even to come up here into the northeast. Yeah, so what it's going to, pretty much how it's going to hit is, it's going to go be Category 1 Wilmington. That's going to get around to Charleston, and then it's pretty much going to batter out from what we've seen. This is just the latest forecast, and then turn into a gradually weakened storm. So, yeah, that's what we know. So, thousands of residents already without power in North Carolina. Residents rescued in New Bern, North Carolina. We're getting reports of that as well. Also, it's proving to be a lumbering giant thus far, with the cloud cover again as large as the Carolinas themselves. That means a cascading of series of complications for cities like Greenville, North Carolina, a handsome college town of 92,000 people set on the banks of the Tar River. The city lies far inland, a few square miles from the Atlantic Ocean, and is connected by the Tar River, which eventually becomes the Pamlico River as it goes in the Atlantic. So, on Thursday, dark heather clouds loomed overhead, and the city spokesman Brock Letchworth said the Greenville's first concern is that Florence could possibly drop enough water to create immediate flash flooding, which could be very disturbing, just to say the least. Yeah, and that's definitely, in my opinion, worth looking into. So, yeah, hopefully everyone stays safe down there in the Carolinas. I've seen someone I know who's down there actually really doing a good job of getting out. They're staying out of what could be a very bad situation. So you got to give them a lot of credit from that. So yeah, we all know about that. We all got you. We just got you updated on what you need to know for that. And now it's time to move on. We're gonna move on to our next story of the day, and that is Donald Trump. He denies the 3,000 person Puerto Rican death toll because of course he does. Hurricane Florence is expected to make landfall on the Carolina coast, as we know, on Thursday. The president started his day with a personal attack against J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, who on Wednesday became the latest rich asshole Republican running for president by claiming that he could beat Trump in the election. So let's see what he's got here. And this is probably one of the areas where I mind Trump the least. And then we're going to get into areas where I do mind Trump, like being Trump the most, because that what he's about to do here is, I don't really have a problem with it. The problem with banker Jamie Dimon running for president is he doesn't have the aptitude or smarts, is a poor public speaker and a nervous mess. Otherwise, he's wonderful. I mean, a lot of bankers and others look much smarter than they are with my great economic policy. So yeah, of course. Yeah, it was disappointing because I haven't seen that yet, and I just was reading that for the first time, and don't like it. Yeah, Jamie Dimon's an idiot. He crashed an economy. I shouldn't say he crashed an economy. It was a lot more people than just him, but he was one of the people who should definitely have not been back after what happened in the economy. But that's a much bigger situation to get into. So then, perhaps after aide carefully reminded him of the impending hurricane, Trump showed a brief glimmer of lucidity, or what passes for lucidity. He says, "We are completely ready for Hurricane Florence as the storm gets even larger and more powerful. Be careful." Obligatory storm tweet. It's good. It's out of the way. Now we can go back to doing the real job that Trump likes to do. Not being president, not being a leader for the country, tweeting. Yeah. And guess what the next tweet is? More text messages between former FBI employees Peter No one cares. It was a Greg Jarrett tweet. And then retweeting some of his greatest hits over the past couple of days. So that he's just literally retweeting his own tweets. And then he rounded things off with a mind-boggling, reality-rejecting defense of his cataclysmic handlings of last year's Hurricane Maria, which left nearly 3,000 Puerto Ricans dead, and the island without clean water for months on end. 3,000 people did not die after the two hurricanes hit Puerto Rico. Oh, really? Gonna need a magic wand for that. When I left the island after the storm hit, they had anywhere from 6 to 18 deaths as time to go by. It did not go up by much. A long time later, they started to report really large numbers, like 3,000. This was done by Democrats in order to make me look as bad as possible, and was raising billions of dollars to help rebuild Puerto Rico. If a person died in Puerto Rico, like old age, just add them to the list. Bad politics. I love Puerto Rico. No. They literally, one of the main reasons why, like, the official death toll, literally from the government, like, agreed with them. And now there's, like, everyone, like, even the guy who, the governor of Puerto Rico, the guy who's, like, spent, like, this entire year-long process just kissing up to Trump. He's been, like, He's no, 3,000 people died. I'm sorry. We screwed this one up. And I really like to quote from the San Juan mayor, who's like, if he thinks 3,000 people dead is a success, God help us. And he's right about that. That's for sure. So the president is a tinfoil hatted hurricane truther now. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is. That is some incredible stuff right there. All right, now we turn to the elections. With less than 30% of polling precincts counted, the Associated Press declared incumbent Andrew Cuomo the winner of New York's contentious Democratic gubernatorial primary, ending what could have been what had become a study in stark contrast between Cuomo's craven political opportunism and Cynthia Nixon's progressive vision for the future, which included abolishing ICE and fixing New York City's problematic subway system. There have been months of acrimony between the two candidates, punctuated in the final days when the ad allegedly approved by Cuomo's camp accusing Nixon of abetting anti-Semitism and mailed to voters on the first night of Rosh Hashanah. Nixon is, in fact, raising her children Jewish. Oops. Throughout the campaign, Nixon's unapologetically progressive stances had actually regularly rattled Cuomo, forcing him to move to the left on a number of issues. Now, he sees there's no political reason for him to be to the left because he just beat his progressive challenger by some 30 points. He's going to go back to the left and probably, most likely, restart the IDC with some willing participants, because some good news from last night, probably really one of the only pieces of good news, is that 7 out of the 8 IDC members and Julia Salazar both won their Democratic primaries last night. So that means they really not going to be any more IDC members. The only person who survived was Diana Savino in Queens. By the way, please check that out. If you want more details on the election, please listen to our primary night coverage. It's just the episode, just the one before this. It says labels special, and I forget what it's all. It's like Cuomo wins, Letitia James wins, and also IDC is taken down. I think is what it. Pretty much what it was. So yeah, Cuomo advances now to the November general election, where he will face Republican Mark Molinaro, the Dutchess County executive. So far, polling has indicated that Cuomo's double-digit lead over Molinaro. The winner of the November general election will be tasked with this unenviable job of governing a state beset with bizarre political infighting, crumbling infrastructure, and rampant corruption. So yeah, that's going to be a time for them. All right, so yeah, Cuomo years of hell in New York. That's a good pun there. I didn't make it though. So again, very disappointing. This is a guy who really should not have won. And for example, he's done things like he calls himself undocumented. Is one of the things he did. One of the things he also said was. He also said America is never great, and he had to just be 2 days later he had to be like, sorry, I didn't mean it, sorry. And then he comes out and says, he literally there's also been reports about Andrew Cuomo that literally only rich people right now are keeping Cuomo afloat. He is in really horrible shape to run for president also in 2020. He sitting on an enormous $25 million campaign war chest for his 2018 re-election bid, which is very funny. At one point last year, Cuomo went 6 months without reporting a single individual donor who gave less than $200. So pretty much he has no support from actual people, just fundraisers and large PACs and whatever, which is pretty sad. Also, some more of Cuomo's greatest hits. Emails show that senior Cuomo officials were chummy with extremely corporate lobbyists. So, one of the other things he liked to do is he wanted to start an anti-corruption committee. Then they started looking to his associates, and he shut that thing down real fast, which is pretty much a parody of corrupt people. They're that's what you do when you're corrupt. You shut that down. You shut that down real quick. But yeah, so that is quite funny, but still there is